disabilities or not. But the problem is when I talk to people here in El Salvador, like when I talk to people in the United States and in other countries, there are still too many disabled people saying that they have a degree, that they're qualified, that they go for a job interview, and when they're seen having a visible disability, the interview basically stops. Like someone told me this morning, she was being interviewed to work for a call center over the telephone, and they really liked her. She speaks English. And when she got down to the company, she was blind. And they said, sorry, we can't hire you. We don't know about your software. We don't know what adverse effect your software may have on our company. We're sorry. Those types of questions should be able to be answered within the business community and working with the government if there are questions that you don't know about what's the appropriate software and how to use it. But software for blind people is really nothing special anymore. It's something that really can just be integrated. And so this person didn't get a job. She luckily eventually got a job. But as we all know, when people hear no too frequently, they stop asking. They stop looking. And you don't want people who are qualified to work to stop looking for work. You want them to become a part of your economic development. That's very important. So there are very interesting models that exist in El Salvador and exist in the United States and other countries that are helping share information on what can be done. Programs that give individuals internships so that they begin to get work experience. Programs that are using the expertise of your corporation, like Microsoft and Citibank here in El Salvador, that are reaching out and bringing disabled people into their workforce, that are involved in helping to set up training programs to make sure that disabled people are appropriately being trained. In the United States, we've seen many of these different types of programs that are collaboratives between the government and business and nonprofit organizations. And we see that companies that begin to employ disabled people realize that people can be very good workers. So I really encourage you to reach out, to speak to other companies. It would be great if there were some more groups in El Salvador like we've seen develop in the United States. There's a group called the United States Business Leadership Network, and you can look into their organization. They're made up of about 64 major corporations in the U.S. that have committed themselves to improving employment opportunities for disabled people and also being more engaged in corporate social responsibility. You can look to what we've been doing and learn from it, but at the end of the day, when you really look at it, it's pretty logical. It's bringing people together to ask questions, to get these questions answered, to share information, and to look at how to move forward. There's really nothing special. It is really psychological, I believe. When I talk to people about hiring disabled people, if they start talking about issues of money first, then I realize there's a problem. Most disabled people really don't cost much of anything in order to hire them. You work with people, you figure things out. If the first thing you're thinking about is, can I really hire this woman? Maybe she's going to have a baby and she's not going to be able to work, so maybe I shouldn't hire her, I'll hire a man. The reality is companies have learned how to address women coming in the workforce. And companies will learn how to appropriately address disabled people coming into the workforce, men and women, some who will get pregnant, some who will leave for a while and then come back to work. The issue is you have to stop thinking of us as people that you give money to out of charity. You have to start looking at investing as you're investing in other activities in the country. And so I really have to continue to emphasize some, in my view, very basic issues. When you hold meetings, You need to make sure that the meetings where you are holding your meetings are accessible. You need to be speaking to your members who have disabilities. You need to find out if the venues are accessible. Can someone in a wheelchair come to the site? Can they use the bathroom? Can they get up onto a podium? Can they stay overnight? Do they have accessible rooms? And if they don't, and you plan your meetings in advance, you probably can put some pressure on that hotel to make themselves accessible. You are a lot of people. You spend a lot of money when you come here. The companies and the hotels and businesses need to know that as part of your commitment to corporate social responsibility, you want your dollars to be supporting businesses that are doing the right thing to make the communities that we live in more accessible. Those are things that can be done. There are books out there that talk about what an accessible venue is. Those are things that can happen. I was very impressed with all of the different businesses that are displaying your wares. But may I also suggest that when you're using videos, those videos should be captioned. It's possible to make them captioned. People in the disability community here can help you identify how to make them captioned. Companies like Google are now building captioning capacity into their software. So when an item is captioned, it says many things. It says to a deaf person who's coming by, this is something which is available to me. It's a product which I want to learn about. When we look at corporate social responsibility, we should also see money signs on the faces of disabled people in our families. I have disposable income. My husband has disposable income. We dispose our income in places that are friendly to us. We do not dispose our income to companies that are not friendly to us. I'm sure it's the same for you. You go someplace and you don't get good service, you stop disposing your money. So really the things that I'm saying are nothing special. You need to reach out to the organizations in your community that are run by disabled people, that are good organizations working with disabled people, to learn from them, to talk with them, to break bread together, to be able to honestly talk about what your concerns are, and to get some assistance so that you know how to move forward. In my view, don't be afraid of asking questions. No question is a stupid question. An unasked question frequently means that you make up in your head what the answer to that question is, and if you don't understand the issue, you come up with the wrong answer. Realize that there are many organizations run by disabled people. We employ disabled people. We figure out how to do it. We don't have a lot of money, but we figure out how to do it. Because we can't be a disabled organization if we're not run by disabled people. So we figure it out. We pay for the phone bill, we pay for the rent, we pay the electricity, and we learn how to pay for accommodations. It's just a way of doing business. When you look at businesses in the United States and England and other companies in Latin America, Brazil, Argentina, etc., they will talk to you about the money power of disabled people and their families. We are a wise investment. And in being a wise investment, we help improve the communities overall. At the end of the day, in my view, all of you hope to become older. And when you become older, there may be changes in your life. You may hear less, you may see less, you may have more difficulty walking up and down steps. You may need certain accommodations that if they're just built into the environment, as they are becoming in many countries, it's not special anymore. It's just there. And when it isn't there, people like yourself begin to question, why isn't it there? People who've gotten used to using a skateboard on a curb cut, or taking a baby carriage and rolling it down a curb cut, or getting it on a bus, or getting it on a train, or going to a shopping center where they can get into the bathroom or do any of these things, it's part of the environment. And you're seeing that here in El Salvador as there are more shopping malls, and some of those shopping malls are accessible. When I go into a community, one thing I do is I kind of scout out, and I look at the chains, and I look at whether or not they're accessible. And I do particularly look at American